Hello and welcome to the episode of the Bubbs on Sports podcast. It is Friday, September 1st. Hope everyone's having a good day so far and a good rest of their day yesterday. We've got a lot to get into today on a Friday program. We're going to do a little Football Friday show here today, as next week will be the first official Football Friday show. But today we're going to break down some more standings, give you more standing predictions for the 2023 NFL regular season. It is entering Labor Day weekend, which only means one thing. That means NFL season begins next week. So exciting times if you're an NFL fan, exciting times if you're a New York football fan, as we've talked about a lot on this show. Both teams having realistic expectations, having realistic possibilities to make the playoffs and make some playoff runs. And it all starts up next week with Chiefs, Lions, and Kansas City on Thursday night. And in the first full Sunday, a week from this Sunday. And in Jets, Bills, Monday Night Football, which will be a week from this Monday. So a lot of excitement there. Today, we're going to break down the AFC South division predictions on the Monday. I obviously, from Monday through Thursday, and now today here on Friday, each day I've done a division, and we've got divisions here over the next 4 days today and Monday through Wednesday next week, finalizing the 8 divisions. We are halfway through our division predictions. We've got 4 more divisions to go, and we'll continue to break that down here over the next 4 days. We'll also get you set up tonight for Yankees Astros. We'll also get you set up for Mets Mariners as both teams begin fresh 3-game sets. Mets at Citi Field, Yankees in Houston. The debuts of Jason Dominguez and Austin Wells tonight in Houston against the Astros. So we'll see how that all plays out. One of the reasons to watch the Yankees right now is Dominguez, is Austin Wells, to see what the young guys can do. Continue to see if Volpe can continue to hit well. So we'll get you set up for those games tonight. But primarily today, a little bit of a shorter episode here. We'll be breaking down the AFC South division predictions. And we'll start with that today. So far up to this point, if you haven't checked out the other episodes, definitely go do that. I appreciate all the support. So AFC East was on Monday. NFC East was on Tuesday. Wednesday, we did the AFC North. And yesterday, we did the NFC North. So far, we've got 4 teams in the playoffs in the AFC, and we've got 4 teams in the playoffs in the NFC. In the AFC, my 4 playoff teams are the Jets and the Bills, and the Bengals and the Ravens. In the NFC, my 4 playoff teams up to this point are the Eagles, Giants, and the Lions, Vikings. So we got 4 divisions left. We're halfway through it. AFC South is today. Monday, we'll do the NFC South. Tuesday, we'll do the AFC West. Wednesday, we'll finish things out with the NFC West, and then that leads you up until Thursday, which is the first game of the season, which will be between the Chiefs and the Lions. A little AFC West, NFC North action there at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. So we'll get you set up for that on Thursday. So today we've got the AFC South. So to break down how the AFC South played out last season, the Jaguars finished in first with a 9-8 record. The Titans finishing in second with a record of 7-10. The Colts finished in third with a record of 4-12-1. And the Texans finished in last with a record of 3-13-1. That one tie came week 1 against the Indianapolis Colts. So both those teams tied. Out of this division last year, it was a pretty disappointing division. The division winner was a 9-win team, not taking anything away from Jacksonville, but it showed you the weakness of this division. They were the only team to make the playoffs. Jaguars went 9-8, made the postseason, obviously had that insane comeback against the Chargers at home against Justin Herbert. And then in divisional round, I was going to say week 2, meaning the divisional round, second round of the NFL playoffs, they ended up losing to the Chiefs in Arrowhead in Kansas City. So Jaguars were the only team to make the postseason last year. Titans, Colts, Texans all missed the postseason last year. And when you look at this division, outside of the one team that made the postseason last year, it is a very weak division. It's a division with potential where you've got 3 young quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence, and you've got 2 rookies in C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson. So it's an interesting division because right now it doesn't look great, but potentially in 2-3 years, could it be a lot better? There's a lot of young pieces in this division. Even the best team in the division has a quarterback that is still young, only entering the 3rd year of his NFL career, and that is Trevor Lawrence. And we'll start with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I have the Jaguars finishing in first in this AFC South division. They finished in first last year. They were, just a year ago, 2 years ago, they had a debacle under Urban Meyer where they were an absolute disaster. Trevor Lawrence didn't do a whole lot. They were back in when they won 1-15 in 2020. They earned the first overall pick. They thought it'd be a good idea to go out and hire former college coach, obviously Ohio State and Florida, Urban Meyer. They brought him in. That was a complete disaster. And then last season, they brought in a Super Bowl winning coach, Doug Peterson. He changed the ship. He righted the ship. He righted Trevor Lawrence's career because after year number 1, Lawrence really struggled, but he was a lot better last season. You expect him to potentially be even more better this year with more weapons around him, and typically young quarterbacks take a big year 3 jump if their development is going along as planned and if they're expected to do some special things. In Lawrence, you saw a year 1 to year 2 jump, and now you're hoping to see a year 2 to year 3 jump where he steps up in a big way in year number 3. Again, you've got Lawrence, you've got ETN. They're well coached. I think they're the most well coached in this division. I like D'Amico Ryans a lot for the Texans, but again, we'll get to them a little bit later. But again, you look at this team with Doug Peterson. He's a I keep wanting to say Hall of Fame coach. He's a Super Bowl winning coach. Won it obviously in Philly with the Nick Foles, Philly Magic, all that stuff. Got the statue outside of the link in Philadelphia. They got the right coach in there. They got the right coach for a young quarterback. You got to credit the front office for the Jaguars. They've done a lot of things wrong over the last couple seasons, but they got the coaching hire right, and that's where they separate themselves amongst the rest of this division. And you also look at the talent on this roster. They've got the best quarterback in the division, which goes a long way. You've got a very good running back in Travis Etienne, who's close with Trevor Lawrence. Both played, obviously, at Clemson together. You've got a very good receiving core with Christian Kirk and Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley obviously suspended last year with the betting incident. He comes back this season, plays for Jacksonville, was previously in Atlanta. Very explosive, quick, very good receiver, underrated, kind of a guy that the NFL forgot about because he didn't play last year. They get him back. He has potential to be a number 1, was really good behind Julio Jones in Atlanta. He comes in. And again, they're young. They've still got a lot of room to grow. Like ETN's getting better. Lawrence is getting better. Ridley's still relatively young. Evan Ingram has fit in perfectly. All the Giants fans, New York sports fans that listen to the pod, we all know Evan Ingram was a disaster with the New York Giants. He's been great with the Jaguars. He actually catches the football, unlike the Giants. So he's really turned into a nice piece. Defensively, they've got Josh Allen, who's still young. You've got a piece in Devin Lloyd, who was your first-round pick last year. You've also obviously got Trayvon Walker, who was the first overall pick a year ago as well. So you've got 2 guys entering your second season on defense. You've got some young pieces on offense. You saw kind of a trailer of what this team could be last year, where they were a 9-win team, just got into postseason, won a postseason round. This year is where I think they take another step, and they'll continue to take steps forward. And I think this season, when you look at this Jaguars team, they're well coached. They got talent. You expect their quarterback to get better. If Trevor Lawrence takes that big year 3 step, this could easily be an 11-12 win team this year. I think their floor is 9-8. I think they're a high floor, high ceiling team because they're young and they're developing. And in a division that's so weak, I don't see them dropping below 500 just because they get to play 6 games against Texans, Titans, and Colts, 3 teams that I don't think will be very good. Spoiler alert. So with their division, I think even if they struggle this year, even if they don't progress as much as we expected, maybe Trevor Lawrence is kind of the same player he was last year, maybe take a step back for some odd reason, I still think they're probably going to be a 9-win team either way, at least. So their floor 9-8, ceilings as high as 12-5. I don't think they'll be a 13-win team, 14-win team. I don't think they're that good. Maybe next year, maybe the year after that as they continue to develop. But right now, I think they're a 12-win team. They're also in a loaded AFC. We've got to remember that. Trevor Lawrence is good, but he's not Joe Burrow. He's not Mahomes. He's not Herbert just yet. You've got Rodgers now. You've also got Josh Allen. Don't forget about him. He's not up there with any of the elite quarterbacks. He's good. He's not elite yet. So I don't know if if they would ever reach in that 13-win range. I think 12-5 is a good ceiling, and an overall prediction of 11-6. Jaguars finishing in first by a lot in the AFC South. Jacksonville wins the division, 11-6. So we move into second place now. This was tough because, to be honest with you, the second place team in this division, I don't love, and I don't really love any of these teams. One of them I do think is in the right direction, but 2 of these teams I have no belief in. One of them's the Titans. I do have the Titans finishing in second. Look, this is a Titans team that on paper, they've got some talent. They obviously added DeAndre Hopkins, who was one of the big, late free agents that was available after getting released from the Cardinals during the offseason. Was kind of not shocking, but many people thought he might get traded. There wasn't much of a trade market there for him. So they went out and added DeAndre Hopkins. But when I look at this Titans roster, I still don't love the quarterback situation where you have Tannehill, who's average at best. He had the one big season about 2 years ago. That was kind of just a blip on the radar. And you've got Malik Willis and Will Levis, who just got drafted. And he fell in the draft. A lot of people thought he was going first round. He fell, into the second round, obviously. He's a guy, this is a Titans team that you don't love the quarterback. You don't love Tannehill. Malik Willis looked horrible last year in the games that he played. I mean, you can make the argument Josh Dobbs last year was the best quarterback for the Titans that took the field. So, and that just shows you the quarterback situation for them. And Will Levis. And when you look at the team in front of them in the Jacksonville, they've got a young quarterback that's blossoming. What do the Titans have? There's a potential. Their future quarterback's not even on the roster. Is it Will Levis? Who knows? We'll see. But I'll tell you what. You don't love Ryan Tannehill. Malik Willis looked terrible. I'm not saying he can't turn it around. But again, this was a guy out of Liberty. Do you expect a lot from a guy from a small school? I don't want to doubt him for that reason. But you saw a lot of negatives. I don't know if he'll ever turn it around. This is a team to me that has a very low ceiling and a very low and their floor is not incredible. I think their floor is kind of low, but their ceiling's very low. Because what is this team going to do this year? You've got Derrick Henry. I understand that. You don't love the receiving core. Outside of DeAndre Hopkins, who isn't the same player once was. DeAndre Hopkins is very good. I wouldn't say he's a number one anymore. And that's why, from a Jet fan perspective, he would have been good for the Jets. He would have been a number two, a compliment to Garrett Wilson. I don't think he's a number one anymore. Potentially, he still could be. He's still a very good receiver. But outside of him, you don't love your receiving core. You go to the defense side of the football. You've obviously got guys like Jeffrey Simmons. You've got Harold Landry, Kevin Byard in the secondary. You don't really know. I mean, Kevin Byard, too. I mean, he had issues early on with the contract. So you really don't know what his future is. This is a team that could look a whole lot different in about a year. I think this is kind of their last push, Mike Vrabel's last push as coach to kind of say, you know what, we're going to go all in. Not all in, but we're going to try it, run it back. We don't love the quarterback, but we added Hopkins. We've still got some pieces on defense. You don't love you've still got Derrick Henry, who's one of the best running backs in football. I just don't love the quarterback situation. I don't love the weapons they've got outside of Hopkins. I mean, Treylon Burks is solid. He's all right. Kyle Phillips, Nick Westbrook, Chris Moore. Those guys aren't anything special. There's a little bit of the youth there, but not a lot. This is a veteran team that is ending the end of its run, where a couple years ago, they were right in that conversation. Now, you don't love them. So, Titans, I have finishing in second. I think their floor is 6-11. I think their ceiling's 10-7. I don't think this team, maybe if they catch fire, maybe if Hopkins and Tannehill or whoever's out there catches fire and starts to play well, maybe they find a way to win 11, 12 games, but I don't see them winning much more than 9 or 8 games. I really don't. Or 9 or 10 games. Realistically, probably their ceiling probably could be 9 and 8 because this was a team that was a 7-win team a year ago. What did they do in the offseason to significantly improve? Not a lot. So I think their ceiling's probably 7-10. They were 7-10 last year. I don't think they're much better. You can make the argument they got older and they got worse in a way. Hopkins is a nice addition. Still don't love the quarterback. I'm going to go 7-10. I'm going to go where they were last year. I don't think this team made any massive strides in the offseason. Some people thought they'd go out and draft a big-time quarterback, trade up potentially, and get a young guy to look forward to. I don't know if Will Levis is really that guy. I don't love Tennessee. Tennessee, 7-10. They are well coached, so I'll give you that. I don't think they're going to be a 5-12 disaster. They'll be somewhat competitive. They'll be competitive. 7-10 is competitive. They're not great. They're not bad. I think they're 7-10. They finish in second. Third place. This might catch some by surprise because a lot of people have this team in last place, but I actually like where they're headed. And I really like what the future of the Houston Texans hold. And that's my third place team, which obviously goes last place is Indy. And we'll get to them here in a second. But the Texans I have in third. And I was actually contemplating putting the Texans in second because I think the team actually has the Texans, in my opinion, have, now their ceiling in my eyes isn't higher, but I had to kind of take a step back with the Texans because I have to realize, hey, they have a rookie quarterback. There's going to be automatic growing pains. Teams with rookie quarterbacks usually don't go out and win 10, 11 games. Not that I had that happening, but I had to I don't see this team being a 7-8 win team this year, and that's why I put them behind Tennessee. I actually think there's part of this roster that's actually better at times than Tennessee, but I do have Houston in third. I really like what DeMeco Ryans brings to the table. Accountability, good head coach, Houston guy, obviously spent time there during his playing career. knows the fan base, knows the area, knows the market. Just a well-respected head coach in terms of the fan base, was the right guy at the right time. That was a locker room that desperately needed it. They've just had a really rough coaching situation the past couple of years ever since the Bill O'Brien incident. Hopkins gone, obviously Watson gone. They've kind of gone through this 2-year stretch, even the final year under Watson where they went 4-12, where they've just been a disaster. They've now got structure at the head coach. You feel good about their quarterback spot. Stroud showed you a little bit during the preseason, but if he is, as long as he's the starter, as long as he's out there developing, you feel like this is a guy, you drafted him early. This was a guy that you drafted in the first round for a reason, right? So I think, again, this is a guy that I know Ohio State, as much as that university is great, and there's so many top prospects and top guys that come out of there. Garrett Wilson, for example, with the Jets. Chris Olave with the Saints. So many guys. Jackson Smith-Njigba. You now look at, they've got some other guys too coming up the pipeline. They've got so many guys that come out of there. Very good receiver school. They've never had many quarterbacks come out of there. A lot of the quarterbacks that came out of Ohio State have been busts. So there is that. If you want to be devil's advocate and say, C.J. Stroud, he's at Ohio State, how do you know he's going to be good? You don't know if he's going to be good yet, but he has potential. He was a first-round pick for a reason. You like the coaching situation there. He's got Dameon Pierce in the backfield, another young running back. They're a very young team. They did add a veteran, Robert Woods, which was a nice veteran pickup, I think, for a young quarterback. It's always nice to have a veteran receiver that a young quarterback can rely on. Nico Collins is still relatively young. You've got John Mechie. Obviously you've got, he's another young piece as well. You look at the defense. You added Will Anderson, who many thought was one of the best prospects in the entire draft. He has a lot of potential there. I thought he looked good in the preseason. They added Sheldon Rankins, who spent time with New Orleans and most recent with the Jets. A very good veteran piece, a good leader in that locker room on what is a young team. Denzel Perryman. They've got Jimmy Ward. They've also got a guy like Derek Stingley. Blake Cashman actually looked good in the preseason for them. Not bad year last year for them. And Derek Stingley, too. Missed some time last year. Wasn't great. Gone through growing pains. For a corner that was selected 3rd overall in front of Sauce at 4th overall in the 2022 draft, he did not have nearly the year that Sauce had. He had a very bumpy rookie year. But if he can stay healthy, the biggest thing with Stingley was health. Even in LSU. He was a very good corner. The biggest thing is he can't stay healthy. Couldn't stay healthy in LSU and missed some time last year. The biggest thing with Stingley is, can he stay healthy? Can he go out there and stay on the field and play at a high level? So you have him developing. You've got Will Anderson. They're I like the coaching, and I like the coach in D'Amico Ryans. This is a team, Texans team, that if things go right and you got the right quarterback in C.J. Stroud, this is a team that should be very good for a very long time. And again, I talk about this division being young. It's a young division. The best quarterback in the division is entering year 3. That's Trevor Lawrence. Year number 1 here, rookie. And we got to talk about a rookie in Anthony Richardson with Indy. So I like where this team's headed. I like the coach. You got the rookie quarterback. Whether or not he pans out, it gives the fans something to be excited about, and you took a chance. You took a chance. They needed a quarterback. They went out, drafted one. They got Will Anderson. They knocked the draft out of the park. They did everything they did everything Texans fans wanted them to do. Took an edge, took a quarterback. They've got some pieces on the receiving core. I think the receiving core is still a work in progress. Potentially down the road next year, they could look for more pieces. But for now, I do like where they're headed. Now, again, they are a young team. And C.J. Stroud's a rookie. So automatically, there's going to be some growing pains. Their floor, in my eyes, is 4-13. And you might think to yourself, that's crazy. But they still aren't overly talented at receiver. You love their running back in Dameon Pierce. Has potential to go out there and implement himself as one of the better running backs in football this year. Had a really good season last year. You have a rookie quarterback. There's automatically going to be growing pains. There's young guys on defense. There's going to be growing pains. There's going to be development. So they're not going to go out there and win 10 games this year. My ceiling for them is 8-9. Maybe they get 9-8 if they catch fire. I think this team will be more competitive than people think. I do. I think this is a team that could easily take care of business against Tennessee, maybe a game this year. I think they could easily sweep the Colts. That's 3 wins right there, plus picking up a couple other wins. The division helps. I don't think this is going to be a team that's going to be a 4-win team. I think they're going to win 6 games, 6-11, maybe 7-10, but I think 6-11 is realistic for a team led by a rookie quarterback and a rookie head coach. There's going to be growing pains there. But I think you walk away from this season as a Texans fan feeling good about where you're at with the organization in terms of the coach and hopefully the quarterback, And next year is where you take that next step where you're maybe more of an 8-9 win team. And in the year after that, that's when you legitimately make that step to being a legitimate playoff contender. But I do like where this Texans team's headed. They've got structure. They've got a direction. They haven't had a direction for the past couple years. They have a direction. And if you're a Texans fan, you've got to feel good about that. Third place, Houston Texans, 6-11. Got some pieces. Developmental year. There's rookies. Rookie head coach. There's going to be growing pains. That's where the 6 wins falls. Now you go to fourth place. Look, I don't even know. I have this team at, I'll tell right off the bat, I have the Colts at 5-12. I think they're easily a 4-win team. I think they easily could be 4-13. I have them at 5-12. Probably should put them at 4-13 realistically because I don't think this team's going to be very good. They have Anthony Richardson at quarterback. Jonathan Taylor is on PUP list still. You don't even know if he wants to be with the Colts. Your running back, your best player, probably doesn't want to be with the team. He's on PUP list right now. You have a rookie quarterback, Anthony Richardson, which has a great running ability. We got to see what he got. We got to see what he can do. You have you got a rookie. You got a first. You got a coach. Sorry, was all over the place. You got a new coach, head coach after Jeff Saturday. It is a disaster in Indianapolis. I look at this team as a disaster. I do. You have your star running back doesn't want to be there. Your owner is a absolute crazy guy. Jim Irsay is crazy. And you have Jonathan Taylor, who's very good but doesn't want to be there. You have a rookie quarterback, so there's going to be growing pains there automatically. I do not like this receiving core. I really don't. I don't. I don't want to be mean, but Anthony Richardson, I just feel like he has bust written all over him. I don't want to say that because technically you could say the same thing about C.J. Stroud because what Ohio State quarterback has come into the NFL and legitimately had success? Not many. So you could say the same thing about C.J. Stroud, but I don't want to sit here and call Anthony Richardson a bust, but I just don't see him working out in the NFL. I really don't. I didn't love him out of college. I know he's a rookie and there's going to be excitement there. He's got upside, very explosive, very good runner in the open field, very good runner. He's a very good running quarterback, very mobile, which is good in this day and age. But he doesn't have many weapons around him. He's not in the best situation in terms of the organization. What do the Colts provide to tell you? I was glad. I will tell you this to compliment the Colts. I was glad that they finally actually went out and drafted a quarterback because they've last 6 years they've had a different quarterback each season from Luck to Brissett to Rivers to Matt Ryan last year to Carson Wentz. There was one other guy mixed in there. Forget his name. He had Sam Elger for a moment last year. It was a disaster. So I was glad that they went out. I was for drafting a rookie quarterback because I think the Colts, instead of trying to add another veteran, they need to go out and draft a rookie and try to develop him. But I don't love Anthony Richardson. I don't. I don't want to sound like I'm being negative towards Anthony Richardson because I don't mean that, but I don't love his game. I don't, personally. And again, I know I'm saying I don't a lot, but this receiving core isn't great. Pittman's very good. I like Pittman a lot. But outside of him, who's your receiving core? Alec Pierce? You got Xavier McKenzie, you just added, and Josh Downs. What's your receiving core right now? Not great for a rookie quarterback. Defensively, they've got DeForest Buckner. They've got Kenny Moore they've got Shaq Leonard, Kenny Moore out there as well. So they've got some pieces in the secondary. They've got some pieces on defense. Headlined by DeForest Buckner, Kwity Paye as well. I like their defense more than their offense. Colts have had a good defense the past couple of years, but their offense is all over the place. Don't like their receiving core. Running back wants out. Rookie quarterback. Owner is an absolute nut. Jim Irsay is crazy. Colts, I don't think are doing anything. I really don't. So, floor I have at 4-13. Ceiling, I think, is 7-10. And then the best the team does is 6-7 wins if Richardson's good and finds a way to break loose on some plays and score some touchdowns and get the ball to Pittman and maybe the defense steps up in a big way. I don't like this team. I also am not in love with the owner. Prediction 5-12. I didn't put them at their floor at 4-13. They were a 3-win team a year ago. Their quarterback, I think, where they've improved this offseason from they were a 3-win team a year ago. How many games is Jonathan Taylor even going to play this year? You won 3 games last year. I guess Anthony Richardson got to be better than Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan was a disaster last year. He was a washed-up disaster. And I was wrong. I thought Matt Ryan would be good for them. I thought he'd get into the postseason at least. I thought he was going to be better than Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz wasn't any good. I thought he was going to be better than Carson Wentz. You even go back to the whole firing of Frank Reich. Was that the right decision? Did you put your rookie quarterback in the right hands with a defensive-minded coach? Did they put him in the right situation? Frank Reich now in Carolina working with the number 1 overall pick in Bryce Young. So it's a tough spot for Indy. I think, Indy. They were a 4-win team a year ago. Sorry, I think I said 3-win team. I was looking at Houston a year ago. They're a 4-win team a year ago. I think they maybe improved in 1 game, but 5-12, they finish in last. Don't love this division, as I talked about yesterday. I do not love this division. I like the Jaguars. The other 3 teams, I do like Houston and where they're headed. Tennessee, Indy, not so sure about them. So, first place, I have the Jaguars at 11-6. Second place, Titans at 7-10. Third place, Texans at 6-11. And again, the only reason I had the Titans over the Texans is because the Texans automatically going to go through some growing pains this year because they have a rookie quarterback and a very young team and a rookie coach. A veteran team in Tennessee, they're going to win some more games just because they're not going to really have those growing pains. Automatically with a rookie, there's going to be growing pains. You're most likely with a rookie quarterback, you're not going to go out there and win 10 games. You're just not. So Texans third place, 6-11, and last place the Colts at 5-12, which means my 4 playoff teams, I have now added 1 more, 5th, and that is the Jaguars winning the division at 11-6. So I have 5 playoff teams now in the AFC. We've got 1 more AFC division to go. That is the AFC West. We'll do that on Tuesday, and that division consists of Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, Broncos. So we'll get you that on Tuesday. Monday, Labor Day, we'll be back. We'll do NFC South. 4 teams right now in the playoffs in the NFC. 2 from the East, 2 from the North. We need 4 more from the South and, or 3 more rather from the South and the West. And same thing here. We now have 5 AFC playoff teams, which means I've got 2 teams coming out of the AFC West. So we'll get to that on Tuesday. Monday will be the NFC South, and Wednesday of next week we'll get you the NFC West to close out my division prediction. So 5 divisions in the books, 3 more to go over the next 3 days. All right, so now we close things out today. Yankees, Astros tonight. Jason Dominguez, Austin Wells debut. We've got Carlos Rodon versus Justin Verlander. So to say that Dominguez and Wells in their first games got their work cut out for them, I'd say that is the right word to use as they face future Hall of Famer in Justin Verlander and a reigning Cy Young. Mets also face the Mariners tonight. They've got Logan Gilbert on the mound for Seattle, and for the Mets, they've got Kodai Senga on the bump. So the Mets will look to see if they can build on. I don't even know what I'm saying. I don't even know if that's. I know what I'm saying, but I don't think that's the right word to use. Build on anything? No, there's nothing to build on if you're the Mets. There's nothing to build on if you're the Yankees, other than seeing some of the young guys. Mets obviously called up Mauricio. Yankees calling up Dominguez and Wells. So that's good. Continuing to hopefully see some progress out of Pereira. Volpe has been great. Continue to see that of him. Peraza, can we see something from Peraza? Has not been good. Tough way to lose yesterday for the Yankees. I mean, what was Gleyber doing? And that's the Gleyber Torres experience. The guy is hitting 270. He's had a great year with the bat. He's got, he's one of the best second basemen offensively in the league. Defensively in his base running, it's the mental mistakes. It's the errors in big moments, and it's the base running mistakes. And it's just it's those mistakes that you question, how much money do you extend him? Or do you trade him and get something for him? So, it's interesting. The Yankees are going to have to choose a path with Gleyber. They're going to have to choose to trade him and bring somebody in, maybe a young arm, for the back end of your rotation. As I've talked about, they've talked to Miami a lot. Seem to talk to Miami every year about Gleyber and never agree to anything. So maybe they do that in the winter. But, do the Yankees have a choice? Do they want to take the offense in Gleyber Torres and sacrifice the defense? Or do you want to keep Gleyber around or trade Gleyber? If you're going to, look, the guy's not a very good baser. He's not very in tuned with baseball in terms of like the mental side of it. Like base running mistakes, all takes a ton of mental mistakes. He makes a ton of errors. Better defensively than he has at shortstop, but the throwing errors. It's the simple stuff, not setting your feet. It's the simple Little League stuff. He's going to make Little League mistakes, but he's going to be one of the best second basemen in terms of offensively. And that's not just me saying that. That's stats. That's numbers. That's just, look at the numbers. That backs it up. He leads the American League in home runs right now. It's among second basemen, more than Marcus Semien. 20-plus home runs. If he can give you 25, 30 home runs every year, that's great, but you have to choose that, or you have to, it's one or the other with him. You got to either trade him, but if you want to stay with Glaber, he's going to hit 270. He's going to hit 20 home runs. He's going to do all that. Over 800 OPS, all that great stuff. But he's going to make errors, and he's going to make mistakes on the base pass. Can you live with that? Are the Yankees okay with that? As a fan, it's extremely frustrating, but, I mean, it is what it is. It's the Glaber Torres experience. It's kind of just some players are like that. So, anyway, that'll do it. We'll be back Monday and Labor Day for another podcast. We're breaking down, obviously, the NFC South and get you any other news and notes you need to know. Next week, we've got NFL football on. It's September. That fall crisp air is in the air, It's outside. You feel it. Football season. You could smell it's coming. So we'll see you all back here on Monday. As always, hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.